Hello, and welcome back to Cape Corner, where we explore the history, story, and cultural impact of a different character or group every episode. I'm Blue,
And I'm Jordan.
and today we are going to be talking about the ultimate hater. Uh, does he have any fancy monikers?
Man, I feel like he does. Hang on. What
Uh,
has he got?
Shitty ass billionaire man, and only the second smartest man on the planet. What a rube. Uh, Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah, I looked up Lex Luthor nicknames and it just says Baldy, Lexi.
What a scrub. Um, Yes, we're going to be talking about Lex Luthor today. I felt it was appropriate because I we recently saw Superman. I want you to know I did listen to your Phantom Optimus episode just earlier
Cool.
today about Superman with oh god
You got it.
yeah, movies to watch before you die with
Yes.
I can't think of his
With
name.
Dylan Pollock.
Dylan, yes, thank you. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so sorry, Dylan, if you happen to listen to this episode. Look, I just got off work. I'm very tired. Can you go on with? Sorry. Um, yeah. So, I also you were complaining in that episode that nobody ever comments on your episodes. So I commented.
Yay!
I I wanted to. I'll address it here. Fuck it. I wanted to bring up something. So in your guys' discussion, he asked you, do you think that the joke of him being like, "I'm gonna kill Clark Kent,"
Oh yeah, yeah.
really-
That's a really interesting scene to me because I keep hearing people go back and forth on whether or not that's humor or not.
I I think it's really good characterization because here's the thing about Lex, especially that version of Lex.
Hmm.
He is so close to being smart. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing. He is a man that created a pocket universe. He is a
Yeah.
man that bioengineered a kaiju. He's the man that cloned Superman. He's the man that was a master strategist that put all this like plan in motion. But the point is that for all of his strengths, he's missing something. At the very end of the movie, Superman says, "I hope one day you understand that humanity is your greatest strength too." And Lex refuses it. And the point is, he's not like at a certain level of emotional and mental maturity to have these realizations. Cause like, there's like a bell curve of
Hmm.
intelligence, right?
Yeah.
There's very simple-minded people who are like, "Oh, like the world's beautiful." Then there's like more intelligent people that are like, actually, the world is cruel and cold and will
Yep.
crush you into a fine paste. And then there's even more intelligent people that go, but the world is still beautiful.
Yeah.
And Lex is in the middle of that graph, not at the top. Um, and and it's the fact that he couldn't see something as simple as Clark Kent is Superman, which just proves like ultimately he's kind of a dumb idiot loser that is missing the beauty of humanity, the beauty of Superman, the beauty of all the things around him. And
Which, bringing back, I mentioned All-Star Superman a few times in our discussion of the Superman movie over on Phantom Optimists, and it's because I'd just rewatched the animated movie to like prep my brain for the kind of tone that this movie would have, because I'd heard that All-Star Superman has some inspiration in it, and that's in there. It's one of my favorite parts of that movie is Lex gives himself Superman's powers for a while,
mhm.
and it's one of my like favorite Lex scenes is that he's like, hey,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
he's doing his big villain monologue of no one can stop me and I've finally bested the Man of Steel. I'm gonna take over the world. He goes, are these atoms? And he's like, and it's there's no actual boundaries between anything or any matter. Everything's connected, and it's beautiful. It's just he like suddenly, and Superman's like, yeah, he finally figured out how everything works, and it's a great scene of like
Yeah,
he just can't get it
yeah.
unless he had
Uh,
Superman's powers.
It is amazing and very beautiful. But and look, to anyone who might be like, Blue, aren't you getting pontificating a little bit too much about Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor? Uh, to which I rebut to you, why is Mr. Terrific such an integral part of the movie? He's
Yeah.
not just a guy that's in the Justice Gang. He gets a lot more focus than Guy Gardner or Hawkgirl.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why it is. Because Mr. Terrific is the smartest man in the world, and Lex
Hmm.
Luthor is only the second smartest man in the world.
Hmm.
And Mr. Terrific is a hero, and Lex Luthor is a villain. And Mr. Terrific is our point of comparison that Lex Luthor is clearly smart, but he's missing something. He's
Yeah.
missing something vital. He could be the smartest man in the world, but he's an asshole.
Yes.
And and like, even he himself knows that ego is his driving motivator, but until he can actually push past his own ego, he will never truly be mentally free. And
Yeah.
there is something strangely tragic about it, to the point where at the end of the movie, when he loses, he just cries. And
Yeah.
there's something, and I don't mean this necessarily insultingly this time, it is pitiful. There is something pitiful about it, and
Yeah.
um, I think Lex Luthor makes a great. Uh, Again, sorry to break it to you, people who hate woke, but a lot of times superheroes have political statements to make, and the character of Lex Luthor is maybe more pertinent today than he ever has been in history,
Yes.
because we have billionaires running the government and doing all this shit like straight out of the comic books. Like,
Yeah.
um,
I will always go back to the old joke from like 10 years ago that I think I brought up on the Fandom Optimists, that there was a headline of an interview with like Warner Bros. Executives in like 2017, 18, somewhere in there. And it was like they just aren't sure how to make Superman a relevant or interesting character in the modern age. And the response is always, yeah, it's real tough to make a refugee immigrant journalist who fights a corrupt billionaire relevant in the
relevant.
modern age.
Yeah, oh, real head scratcher there. Um, and DC is also aware of these parallels too, like to the modern real world, like to the point where Young Justice's Lex Luthor, when he was pressed about an issue on the news, he literally said "fake news."
Yes.
Like, yeah, yeah, we get it.
Yep, that one's pretty clear.
Um, but yeah, let's let's start.
There's so many good Lexes. I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, let's start getting into it. Lex Luthor was a ginger scientist who stupidly set himself on fire during an experiment, and Superman blew the fire out and also blew the hair off his head. And Lex Luthor decided that day to become the ultimate hater. He said, "You made me bald, so I will spend the next 80 years of comic book history trying to ruin you." Um, and then he stole 40 cakes, and that's terrible. I am memeing a little bit, but the 40 cakes thing has been made canon. For those of you that don't know, there's like an old children's book, uh, like one of those old like cardboard page, like really thick Turners for little kids, and it
Hmm.
it was like uh talking about how Lex Luthor stole 40 cakes. That's as many as four tens, and that's terrible. And then like 50 years after that, in a comic book, somebody just very briefly in like an internal monologue brought up how one of Lex's earliest crimes was stealing 40 cakes.
That's great.
It's just like, holy shit, it's real.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, Lex Luthor, uh, one of the most classic villains. Not the most classic. I just found out recently that Superman's first villain was Ultra Humanite, which is
Okay.
insane. I didn't even know Ultra Humanite was a Superman villain.
I had forgotten that entirely.
Um, I just straight up didn't know. But yeah, so sometime after that, Lex Luthor popped up, and he, like he's pretty iconic. Like he was doing the purple and green color scheme before fucking everybody else came.
Yes.
Like the Hulk, Mysterio, Green Goblin. Like there's so many. They love doing purple and green in comics.
Purple and green's a great villain color.
Yeah. So he, he is a billionaire. He is a genius. So in that way, he's very similar to Batman. But um, whereas Bruce Wayne lived a severely traumatic life and used that pain to better himself and to try and better society around him. To my knowledge, Lex doesn't have like a dark backstory, right? Like he's not like Kingpin where his father abused his mother or anything. And
No, he often has. I mean, I'm mostly drawing on Smallville here, but uh, fucking asshole for a dad who's
yeah,
just
but who doesn't? So do I. And don't say me being Elon Musk about it.
yeah, so he didn't have some like deeply tragic parts of that were deeply tragic though. There was the thing with the younger sibling and the mom, I think, killed his younger sibling as a baby just to prevent that kid from having to grow up being abused by the dad. There's some dark shit in Smallville, but I don't think in general he has like a notably tragic backstory.
Okay, I didn't know Smallville went crazy like that. Holy shit.
Smallville goes dark sometimes, my guy.
Jesus. Okay. Um, yeah, I've never seen Smallville, so
Oh, I love Smallville.
what is somebody say?
That's right. That's the thing.
Yeah. Um, again, the first podcast I ever listened to, something that helped inspire me to do Cape Corner, is Weekly Planet, and that was their original bit. Like they would start an episode, they didn't have a theme song, and so Mason would just go theme song, and then he would just start like singing some superhero related song. So the
That's
first one
funny.
was the Smallville theme song. And then I think episode 2 he did and they say that a hero can say.
That's pretty good. That's a lot of fun.
Um, yeah, so, uh, yeah, Lex, depending on the continuity, may or may not have some tragedy, but typically, from my understanding, he grew up smart as hell and, started a business and lived a fairly normal, non-eventful life, which I'm a big believer that like pain breeds kindness. Um,
Yeah.
and as a result, living your most formative years without any issue whatsoever can make you a real jerk. And unfortunately, he became a real jerk. And um, now, again, the original like golden age reason that he's so anti-Superman is because he blew his hair out. Very silly, very campy, not very non-serious. But
Yeah.
the more modern interpretations have had a much better reasoning. Is that Lex, he's very intelligent. He's extremely physically fit. Like, we're talking like Olympian level athlete,
Hmm.
kind of fit. He wants to be an Ubermensch, uh, which is difficult when a guy literally called Superman suddenly shows up and
Hmm.
is stronger and just better at everything. And like not very often brought up, but Superman does also have super intelligence. It's
Hmm.
just not one of his defining features, so people
Yeah.
tend to forget it. So maybe not as smart as Lex, but like thoughtful competition.
Yeah.
And then the physicality side of it, he can do so many things that Lex can't even begin to accomplish. So
Hmm.
Lex gets pissed because he's like, I was so close to being like a great example of humanity, and then this guy's not even a human. Fuck this guy. Uh,
Hmm.
and so then that stokes the fires of xenophobia, literal xenophobia. Um,
Hmm.
and again, I think he's a great example of how bigotry grows out of some personal bias. Um, I don't know if you ever have watched anything with Brendan Lee Mulligan.
Oh yeah, fucking
Um,
love Brendan Lee Mulligan.
Fucking hilarious dude. I have a Dropout subscription, and he's a big part of it.
Awesome.
Um, so he said something in some video. Uh, Personality predates ideology, which is to
Interesting.
say, most people during the formation of their beliefs, they don't have a concrete ideology that they then alter their personality around. They have their own personal beliefs that they then form their ideology around. And so with Lex, it's I should be the best, but this guy came in and stole my thunder. And so
Yeah.
then he became essentially a fascist.
Yep.
Uh, Based around that. And we see it in our day to day lives. Like a lot of times, um, people, again, like Elon Musk or Trump or whoever, have um, personal ego issues where they they feel hurt in a sense of like they've not been given enough praise or something.
Yeah.
Trump specifically has a lot of issues with his father, and Daddy didn't love him enough, and so now that's the world's
Yep.
problem. Because when they're not given the attention that they crave, they build themselves up to demand more attention, but also put others down. They say, well, you haven't given me enough attention, but what if I tell you that all the blacks are bad and I'm not black? Or what if I tell you all the gays are bad and I'm not gay? Or what if I tell you all the transes are bad and so on and so forth? And so bigotry often stems from personal failings
Yep.
and desperately trying to
Insecurity.
fall back a sense of superiority. Um, and uh, Lex accidentally became the perfect character to um, lampshade those kinds of issues. So
Yep.
I think he's a very interesting character. I think he's an extremely useful character because Superman is such an inherent good, and
Yeah.
his villain, his greatest villain, is such an inherent evil, but not like cosmic, dark, force, incomprehensible Cthulhu level evil. No,
Yeah.
human evil. He's
Yes.
extremely, he's
Just the
extremely
darkest
normal,
parts of human nature.
and as a result, because it's such easy shorthand, right? Superman is good, Lex is bad.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be compared to Lex Luthor, which is why right wing people are getting so fucking pissed off at this movie because they're invariably having to stand side by side with Lex Luthor in saying, no, I think genociding a brown population is a good thing, actually. Um, because, yes, a lot of fascists also tend to be pro-Israel. They tend to be anti-Semites, and yet they're pro-Israel. I wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because criticizing a government for genociding a native population has nothing to do with being racist.
Mm-hmm.
Food for thought. Um, but yeah, Lex, he's pretty much just got his wit and his ego, and he can occasionally punch pretty good. But he does also augment himself when he doesn't see a way out of just trying to punch Superman to death. He
Mm-hmm.
has a big old mecha suit. Um, Now, I I can't remember what his suit like what the actual tech is based on because I think he took it from like alien wreckage, right? Like
Interesting.
it's either like is it New God? Like maybe it's like New
It
God Apocalypse.
might be. I mean, it probably depends on which continuity
Yeah,
you're looking
I
at.
definitely like I think some variations it's been like
Because he has the Ultra
Kryptonian
Humanite
wreckage.
help him make it from like scratch in the Justice League animated series.
Ultra Humanite did it?
In the
That's
in the in the Justice League animated series, yeah, he helped him.
okay. shit. I mean, hey, that's a great way of again bringing back this first Superman villain.
Yeah,
Um, but uh, oh, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, Ultra Humanite's a big monkey man with a big exposed brain.
yeah,
Again, they love their
and
gorilla
he
image.
loves opera.
He does, yes. Oh, there's that. Oh, the fucking the scene where Flash visits him on Christmas.
Dude, I adore everything about Justice League the animated series, but that's probably my favorite episode. It's
It's
so
so good.
sweet.
Oh, I love that. Like that show, like Flash seems like such an asshole for like 90% of that show. And
Yeah.
then occasionally when it really zooms in on him and his
Played by Michael Rosenbaum and other Lex.
yes. Which is funny because he also switched bodies with Lex Luthor that one time,
Yeah.
so he got to play
That's another one of my favorite
Lex
episodes.
in Wally's body.
Yep.
Um, so really good. And that version of Lex, the animated series one, he is the Lex that I grew up with. Clancy
Oh
Brown's.
yeah.
Um, he was in Superman the animated series, but then he was also in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Um, and
And
the
he's very much got that perfect hater energy.
He does. Okay, I was just explaining to one of my coworkers today because we were talking about the Superman movie, and she's like, "Yeah, somebody just told me about Injustice, so I just like found out about this recently." And
Oh
so I
wow.
explained to her the influence going from the Crime Syndicate of America to the Justice Lords to Injustice, right?
Yeah.
So I was just talking about the Justice Lords. The entire like the Justice League cartoon is extremely episodic,
Yeah.
but there
Except
is,
when it isn't.
I mean, well, they're all like two parts and stuff, but
Yeah, but I guess I'm mostly I guess the original Justice League animated series is pretty episodic. I was thinking of Unlimited, where then suddenly they'll deep cut throw in something from several years ago.
yes, but I would argue that Unlimited is even more episodic because aside from them doing that on occasion, most episodes are we're just going
That's
to
true.
focus on some characters that you've never even fucking seen before. Here's an episode
Yeah,
about Hawk and Dove.
that's true. There's a lot of episodic shit in Unlimited, except the Flashpoint arc, which it's not a real Flashpoint arc. It's just one of the episodes was called Flashpoint, is why I call it that. It's the Cadmus arc, I guess, is what it's more commonly called, but where they have a four-parter that's like you need to know everything for this. It's like they fold in the Justice Lords, that whole adventure. They fold in everything about the slowly growing presidential campaign in the background. It's everything about the relationship with Amanda Waller and Argus and Cadmus and everything. And oh man, what was the name of the five kids? Oh no.
The Wonder Twins and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, all of them.
But what I
Ultimen. The Ultimen.
yeah, right. What I was getting at with that is that there is one like really strong plot line that's established as far back as the original Justice League cartoon, which is
Hmm.
that the Justice Lords come in, this alternate universe version of the Justice League, except for Wally,
Hmm.
and they're authoritarian. In their world, they have there are no villains because they either went and murdered them or they had them join their cause or they just straight up like lobotomized them.
Yeah.
A lobotomized poison ivy is the gardener for Arkham Asylum.
And there's a lobotomized Joker, who's like a secretary at this point.
Yeah. It's really fucking dark. And the reason that it happened, we get this essentially prophecy from I believe Justice Lord's Batman, which, by the way, again, they're based on the Crime Syndicate
Yeah.
loosely, except that instead of being in a world where they were always just the bad guys, they were the Justice League, and
Hmm.
then they went authoritarian. But because he's still
Yeah, and
moving
you're right.
with Batman,
That's very much the seeds of the injustice concept. That's true.
yeah. and as a result, they're still making some slight references. So like the Justice Lord's Batman has a lot more silver on his outfit because
Yeah.
Owlman's outfit is silver.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's neat. Um, but yeah, Justice Lord Batman is like, here's what happened to us. Lex Luthor became president, and when he did, he was basically able to operate with enough free reign that he was able to kill the Flash. And
Mhm.
when he killed the Flash, Superman snapped, murdered Lex Luthor.
One of the
And
best opening sequences of any DC related thing ever, of Superman storming into the Oval Office and killing Lex, because we are not warned that this is not our universe when that episode starts.
yeah, also, when the Justice Lords first appear in our reality, or our reality, in the show's continuity, um, Doomsday arrives and Superman just immediately like lobotomizes him, like does not hesitate. He
Yep.
brain fucks that guy, and uh, everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And he doesn't really say anything, but the implication is like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this shit again. We're not doing the whole death of Superman. Fuck this guy." Um, so yeah, so with that in mind. Uh, I believe the question also somehow stumbles upon that like prophetic thing about Lex becoming president and then killing the Flash. And into Justice League Unlimited, Brainiac uh, returns to Earth and merges with Lex Luthor.
Hmm.
And um, I think this is, in fact, after he's become the president, right?
He hasn't become president in this universe, and that's I think Dylan and I may have brought this up, but this is unquestionably one of my favorite Lex Luthor scenes in anything ever. Is prior to this event taking place with Brainiac merging with Lex, we get an awesome episode where the Question, who I don't think we've done an episode on the Question. That might be fun sometime.
We have not, because
For
I
any
know
listeners who don't
I know very
know,
little about the question.
yeah, for any listeners who don't know, the Question is a crackpot conspiracy theorist who is often right. And it's just like,
Rorschach from Watchmen is heavily based on the Question.
yeah,
He's got a mask that makes him look faceless,
yeah.
and
And
other than that, he's wearing an old timey detective outfit.
I gotta rant a little bit about the Question in Justice League Unlimited because
Okay,
he's so fucking funny. Because like he'll like Green Lantern will visit his room or something, and he'll look at his like insane cork board of evidence. He'll be like, "What do the Girl Scouts of America have to do with a plane crashing in Indonesia?" And he goes, and he says, "Who wants to cover up the secret is the real question." And it is like he's just insane. But like every time he gets onto something, he turns out to be right. So you really have to start taking him seriously.
yeah,
And there's like an episode where he's getting tortured a bunch to find out what he knows about the Justice League's weaknesses or something. I don't remember. But they're like, tell us everything you know. And he starts just spouting off conspiracy theories that, given his track record, we have to assume are true as an audience. And there's one where they like electroshock him and he goes, the plastic tips at the ends of shoelaces are called aglets. Their true purpose is sinister. And they like shock him again. They're like, tell us everything. And he says, fluoride does nothing to improve the cleanliness of your teeth. It does, however, render them visible from a spy satellite. Like, anyway, it's just shit like that. But he finds Cadmus's files that, like, they've been researching the Justice Lord's world, and they know how that happened. They know everything. And so he's figured out that, oh my God, our Luthor is campaigning to be president, and he's pretty close in the polls. And if he becomes president and he kills the Flash and Superman kills him, then all out war will happen and we become the Justice Lords. And I can't let this happen. and there's a great line where he says it's not an alternate reality, it's a time loop. And so he goes to Lex's office, and he's basically telling Lex that I'm here to kill you so that Superman won't get the chance. And he says, I'm a well-known crackpot. The Justice League will survive me going nuts and killing someone. I'll just get thrown in prison, and that's worth it. Superman can't be the one to do this. And Lex surprises him with his secret plan or whatever. But there's a great line where Lex says, President, did you actually think I wanted to be president? Do you have any idea how much power I'd have to give up to be president? I spent $500 million on a fake presidential campaign just to piss off Superman. And it's my favorite Lex line in anything ever, is I spent $500 million on a fake presidential campaign just to piss off Superman.
Again, like, I'm sorry, I'm truly not trying to compare everything to Trump, but the idea of how much power I'd have to give up. Trump didn't even want to be president because
Yes.
he had to suddenly go through a bunch more hoops to
Yeah,
because he clearly didn't divest any of his financial
that's true.
earnings, which
That line from that cartoon has an early 2000s very optimistic
optimism.
view of of the government's restrictions on the
Yeah,
president.
but it did still make it harder for him to like openly earn
Yeah.
money off of his position, and so yeah.
But anyway, yes. So yes, to get back to where we were, ultimate hater energy. He didn't become president. He just pretended he wanted to be president just to piss off Superman, and for no other reason at all. But then we get to the point that you were bringing up where he has merged with Brainiac.
Yes, and he it, it- he's extremely powerful, and Shaira winds up rejoining the group after having to be separated from them for like 75 to 80% of Justice League Unlimited because of the events of what it wasn't War World. What do they call it? It's the finale
Uh,
of Justice League.
yeah, the episode's called Starcrossed.
Thank you, Starcrossed. The events of Starcrossed, where the Thanagarians invade. Um, and she winds up rejoining. I can't remember what the circumstances are, but it's just the original seven. None of their like 100 other Justice League
Yeah,
members
I love
are there to
Justice
help
League
her.
Unlimited.
Um,
There's so
and
many.
and he's
The
kind of
Creeper is a member of the Justice League in that season. That's nuts.
insane. Um, so he's kind of dog walking all seven of them.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where, well, first of all, I want to point out he makes like evil clones of all of them on the spot, and the
Hmm.
Flash's one is yellow. Uh,
Yeah, that's fun.
we don't have an actual Reverse Flash in that continuity, so it's fun that
Fun
we get
nod.
a nod. Yeah. But he beats them all up.
And he made the rest of the evil clones look like the Justice Lords, which was
Yep,
cool continuity.
he sure did. So he beats them all up. He sort of brags for a moment because he makes a couple of fake like army men to hold Flash's arms and hold him up. He's like, looks like the question was right. I kill you, and then Armageddon.
Hmm.
And Flash is like, no, and he like uh, knocks them away, knocks his way out.
Flash does the single coolest thing I've ever watched in anything in my life.
He seems to just run away, and Brainiac Luthor is just like, and just starts rebuilding stuff. And
Yeah.
then in the horizon, he sees Flash running at him again, and just boom, just slams into him and runs past, and like knocks a piece of the Brainiac armor off of him. And we see he's not just like running around the city; he runs all the way around the world, and boom, it hits him again, and just starts doing it over and over and over and over and over, and he's going faster and faster, and he is pummeling the fuck out of Lex, and finally he shows up and he stops and he's like vibrating and white electricity is coming off of him and he slams into him one more time and he vibrates his hands into his chest and shakes Brainiac out of his body. And it's so cool. And unfortunately he did temporarily have to merge with the Speed Force to do it. But it's okay. It's fine. He immediately got better. They pulled him back out of it. But for a moment there, it seemed like Flash died to beat Brainiac
Mhm.
Luthor, and then Lex, butt ass naked, crawls out of the crater, and still being a smug little shit goes, "What do you know? I did kill him." And then Superman is just glaring down at him, and he just goes, "Oh, I think this is the part where you kill me."
Yep.
And Superman picks him up, and someone starts to run after him. I think it's like Shaira, but then like
Wonder Woman runs to stop him, and
yes, it's
Batman
Wonder Woman.
blocks her.
Batman blocks her because Batman is he'll never admit it, but he's one of Superman's closest friends, and
Hmm.
he
He
has
believes in him.
he believes in him, and that belief is rewarded because Superman is like glowing eyes red, but then he stops and he just pulls him down closer to his face and he goes, "I'm not the man who killed President Luthor. Right now, I wish to God I was, but I'm not." And then Martian Manhunter's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, he's still alive. Let's pull him out."
Also, fun fact: he says, "I wish to heaven that I were,"
That's
because for some bizarre reason
it.
they weren't allowed to say God.
You know what? I'm gonna say this right now. Good. Uh, Look, not to get into the whole religious thing, but we are technically supposed to have religion divorced from like most things in our society. We just
we
don't.
we
Religion is
just we just
supposed to
tend
be
not to.
religion is supposed to be divorced from like say government. So why is our
In theory,
government predominantly Christian? Uh, yeah, it's one of those things where we need to stop treating Christianity like it's the default state of being, right?
yeah.
Um,
But anyway, that just amused me that due to a bizarre censorship issue,
yes.
they had to say, "I wish to heaven that I were," and I think that's
I
funny.
mean, I still think that sounds very like Superman speech pattern, so I think it works.
Yeah.
Um, then again, I guess a lot of his speech pattern was molded by the Comics Code Authority, so I think it's fits. Um, but yeah, so that was one of the coolest Lex storylines, and it ran throughout.
It
Um,
epitomizes Lex's just all time just S tier hater level energy.
yes, I agree. And then there's been some other really good interpretations of Lex as well. Lex is the main villain of Superman Batman Public Enemies. Um,
Oh yeah, that is a good Lex. That's a
in
fun
that
one.
version, he is not only using the suit, which by the way I didn't even mention. So the suit that he has, it has a bunch of advanced weaponry, blah, blah, blah. But
Hmm.
like one of the most recognizable things about it is that his head is completely exposed, and so people often go, "Why don't you just hit him in the head?" Well, the answer is there actually is an invisible force field there. He just designed it that way because he wants people to see his face when he
Yep,
beats them up.
he's just vain.
He is. Um, so it's not actually exposed. It is one of the best protected parts of his suit, ironically enough. But he's not only using the suit in that, he's also injecting himself with liquid kryptonite to use as a steroid,
Yeah,
which,
I think so.
um, look,
That
I
seems
don't,
unhealthy.
I don't claim to be smarter than the second smartest man on the planet, but kryptonite is just the irradiated chunks of a dead
Eh,
planet.
yes.
You're probably irradiating yourself, sir. And spoiler alert, he is because the animated version, the one that we were just talking about, Clancy Brown, literally gets cancer because
Yeah.
it turns out having
Fucking gives himself cancer carrying kryptonite around for several
having a
years.
radioactive rock in your breast pocket your for multiple years of your life is bad for your health.
Yeah. And I love that. I love the Doctor has to like. This is a really good, another really good example of he's highly intelligent, but there is a reason he is not the smartest man in the world, and it's partly this that it's just his sheer dumbass bigoted hatred blinds him to things that should be really obvious. And it's like great when the Doctor explains it to him in that show where he's like, well, that's impossible. The radiation's only harmful to Superman. And they're like, yeah, mostly, but it's still low level radiation at all times.
Yeah.
You've been
Um,
carrying it around for like 5 years, man. It's terrible.
it's like if you've had a fucking home microwave in your pocket, just on and
Yeah.
active all the time for like 10 years. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think's gonna
It's
happen?
horrible.
If you fucking have a microwave hit you for 2 seconds, you're fine. But like a decade is gonna fucking destroy you.
Yep.
So, um, yeah, it's. I think it really speaks to the fact that Lex's greatest enemy isn't Superman. It's him. It's
Yep.
his short-sightedness and his ego and like his desperate need for validation is the thing that always gets him killed.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's very true. That's very true that his greatest enemy is himself because unlike a lot of supervillains, like I think the vast majority of supervillains, there's specific plot. Um and hang on, I think I messed up my microphone here. Is
yeah,
this
your
okay?
voice did become weird for a second there.
Is it good now?
It sounds fine.
Okay. So there's like for most supervillains, it feels like there's a specific evil plot that I'm trying to steal all the money, or I'm trying to take over the world, or destroy, the government or something. And they are at odds with the superhero because they're trying to do something sinister to other people. And with Lex, and this isn't always true. It's not true of the Gene Hackman or Kevin Spacey ones, which is why those aren't my favorite Lexes.
They're also
Um,
weirdly into land deals.
Yes, that's what I was about to say, is that it's like those versions are at odds with Superman because they're about to do something awful. And that's not as fun to me as when Lex is uniquely a supervillain who's just he could just let go of being an asshole anytime he wants and live a wonderful life. He's just obsessed and addicted to this hatred of this one guy. And it's just you could let go, man. You don't have to do this. And
Yeah.
so I think that's a much more fun characterization of Lex than the land deal Lex, because that to me makes him more of a standard villain where
It is,
it's
it
I'm
is
trying to do a bad thing and the hero's stopping me.
It is a very distinct and memorable dynamic in that most supervillains, like you said, they're trying to accomplish some goal, and so the superhero arrives and inserts themselves and has to put a stop to it. But for Lex, he inserted himself into Superman's life. He was like,
Yeah.
no, no, I specifically have beef with you,
Yeah,
and we're
he's the
going to fight it
opposing force. Usually the hero is the opposing force, preventing a bad thing from happening. He is the entire instigation of this shit.
Right. It's very because like in writing, there's two ways to write a character. You write them active or reactive,
Yeah.
and often the hero of the superhero genre specifically, this Western comic book
Yeah.
style, heroes are often active. They are going out into their community, trying to right wrongs. They're stepping out. They're going on patrol, looking for something to do. And normally they find bad guys committing crimes of various sorts, and they inject themselves into the process. Superman, I'm not saying he's not an active. Like he's literally got the power to hear all the trouble in the world, and he flies to it.
Yeah.
Um, but with Lex specifically, he is reactive. Lex is, like you said, he's the active force. He's the one
Yes.
that's making the plans and trying to go after Superman, and Superman just has to respond. And I think it's interesting that he's really the only villain that I know of for Superman that is that way. Hell, he's one of the only supervillains I can even think of. other than Reverse Flash,
It
another almost
depends on,
villain.
yeah, oh yeah, oh God, Reverse Flash. Oh, I forgot about him for a minute. Yeah, he's definitely up there. If I had to think, you could charitably categorize some Jokers under this. It depends on whether you're categorizing Joker as being obsessed with
With
fucking with
Batman.
Batman or
Yes.
being obsessed with just causing chaotic bad things to happen and Batman
Yes.
stopping him.
So
Depends on which Joker.
like the Mark Hamill Joker, he famously, like, yes, he did clearly, like,
Without
he
Batman, crime has no punchline.
he loved getting into it with Batman, but he was still doing shit like trying to steal a whatever from a whatever, right? Like he
Yeah.
was doing actual crimes, not just fucking with Batman.
Yeah, they do have an episode where he thinks Batman's dead and he gets super depressed and just gives up on doing crimes. So it's like
Yeah,
you could call that Joker an active, like his motivation is he wants to fight Batman, but his motivation isn't that he hates Batman. It's that he thinks it's fun when he gets to
clearly he
fight
loves
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah, he does. There's a lot of like vaguely homoerotic undertones
It's
to
not that
various
vague,
Batman and
bro. It's
Joker.
pretty overt.
Depends on which one you're looking at. Some of them make it very clear,
He's
but
gonna give you a reach around.
that one makes it a little too
Um,
clear.
yeah,
Um,
Jared Leto, by the way, in case
but
anybody didn't hear
but
our Joker episode
oh
from
God, yeah. Please go listen to the Joker episode. It starts out hilarious. Um,
Oh yeah, oh God, I forgot we did the whole bit where you kidnapped
we
him.
did the bit, but where was I going with this? Oh, I was going to say the Green Goblin is an example where it's like he he isn't like fixated on Spider-Man because he's Spider-Man. He's fixated on Spider-Man because he fought him earlier. At least like in the Tobey Maguire movie, it's like it's like the Green Goblin is doing something bad that Spider-Man stops once, and that causes the Green Goblin to become fixated on him. But Lex is definitely unique in his severe insecurity just cannot let him let go of this obsessive disdain for this one person. And if he just did let go, he would be a force for good. There's so much he could do that would be great.
You wanna know what's a great uh I was gonna say point to your point. That's not what the
Mm-hmm.
fucking you wanna know what's a great example of your point?
Yeah.
Um uh so I mentioned the crime syndicate earlier. Earth
Yeah.
3, where all the bad guys are good and all the good guys are bad, and instead of
Mm-hmm.
Justice League of America, they have the Crime Syndicate of America. Who
Mm-hmm.
is the greatest hero of that Earth?
Lex.
It is Alexander Luthor. And um and he's also aided by the Jester.
Mm-hmm.
But
I love that.
it's Alexander Luthor. He's the one. He is the guy. And like, okay, to be clear, when I say Lex's hatred and ego make him fall short of being the smartest man in the world,
Mm-hmm.
that he is stupid because he is hateful and prideful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is a perfect example because this is a Lex who does not let himself become overtaken with ego. And it's like, okay, does he fight with a powered suit? No, he is a telekinetic and a telepath on the level of some Jean Grey shit. Like, like truly, like he had made a pocket reality to hide out the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Um,
was a psionic of utmost ability. And why? Because he was able to just focus all of his energy into improving himself that much just for the sake of being good and helpful to people and improving himself. Not because he was like, our Luthor is so fixated on killing Superman that he's injecting himself with cancer-causing fucking
yeah.
steroid juice.
There's at least two continuities where he gives himself cancer because of how much he hates Superman.
Yeah.
And another really good thing to more of this point is this is even mentioned to him sometimes, like in All-Star Superman. There's a part where he's like, there's a scene where he's talking to Superman, and he's like, if the people just weren't so fixated on you, they would realize how great I am. And Superman's like, I haven't been stopping you from being great. You could cure cancer. You could fix So you could fix world hunger. You could do anything, my guy. I'm not stopping you. And like he basically has this conversation with them, and
He's like,
it's
you
just like
realize people
if you
would,
would just let go of this, you would be the coolest dude ever.
yeah, he's like, you realize that people would be talking about you instead of me if you could just stop being an asshole. Like,
It's just such a fascinating character quirk that he's just obsessed. He can't stop.
yeah, he is, man.
And I
Oh,
think this is all also why he's one of the only villains who is routinely painted as like occasionally joining the Justice League or helping out because it's like, yeah, he's not, he's not a conquer the world or destroy the world kind of person. So if someone comes along who is, he's going to fight them. But he can't get over hating Superman.
yeah, the amount of times in like Young Justice alone that he actually aids the heroes, like
Yeah.
and like there many times they are for very selfish and manipulative reasons, but like he still does. He fucking helps broker the peace deal between North and South Malaysia. He provides Superboy with the shields, which again that actually was just straight up like manipulation. Like he's trying to engineer an addiction, but
Yeah.
still, like he was still again aiding the heroes and fighting other supervillains through that.
Hmm.
Or the season 2 finale where it's like, hey, the Reach are going to destroy the planet. Okay, let's stop fucking around for a second. I engineered this technology. I want you to use this to stop the Reach bombs. Let's work together, heroes. Okay, go.
And in the Justice League Justice Lords episode, when our Justice League finally comes back, Lex helps them defeat the other Justice League.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, these guys are worse. This is definitely terrible. I don't want to lose the planet.
Talking about all that is something that I wanted to touch on, which the okay, the DC animated universe version of Superman. I think I'm sure people are going to be mad about at me about this. I'm sorry, I only have to speak my truth. One of the blandest versions of Superman I saw, and a big reason why I thought Superman was boring growing up. Um,
Interesting. I always loved that one.
well, here's the thing: he gets really interesting in small bursts, but
I guess that's true. Yeah.
but
Fair
in a
enough.
typical episode, he's extremely stoic. Um, and here's the thing: I don't
Yeah,
even.
it doesn't help that, yeah, he had to be very stoic a lot. And in the Justice League animated series, they kept having to have him get his ass kicked to
Yes,
show the audience that there's a reason to be worried.
yeah. Well, also because like. With, I know you fucking like the Zack Snyder Justice League movie. I'm sorry, again, this is not me trying to shit on things, but but let's be real. The Justice League didn't need to be there. Only
By the
people,
end, once they resurrect him, yeah,
yeah,
he is very. You know what? Actually, for the Snyder cut, I will object to it. For the Joss Whedon version, that's completely
oh man,
true.
it's all the same shit. I don't fucking care. The point is that like, I understand the
I'm just
feel
saying
that,
that severe weakness with the third act is handled much better in the Snyder cut.
but it's still shown that Superman is like okay, the Justice League at 100% power is all six of them. The Justice League at like 99% power is just Superman. Um,
That's true.
I don't know
That's,
if you've seen
yeah.
that meme from Naruto where it's like team, it's showing in the final war arc, it's like Team 7 at 100% power, and it's
Yeah.
Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, and it's like Team 7 at 99% power, and it's Naruto and Sasuke.
That's funny.
Um, but yeah, uh, so I do appreciate in the original Justice League show that Superman like does oftentimes need help from the Justice League because
Yeah.
he's not that much more powerful than all the others, at least until the final episode. But but one of the most interesting things I've seen from that version of Superman is we've been talking a lot about how Lex is just so hung up, obsessed over Superman,
Yeah.
but that obsession bleeds into Superman because he is constantly trying so hard to fuck with Superman in every facet of his life. Superman becomes paranoid, and
Yeah.
Superman slowly becomes unraveling over the fact that like Lex Luthor could be around any corner trying to fuck with me. There's an entire episode
Clash.
where Lex is, yeah, I hate that you just know all these episode
I,
titles off the top of your
dude, this is like one of my top tier, like, obsessive full memorization fandoms.
I can tell. No, it's a good thing to be obsessed over. Shit. Um, but uh, yeah, there's an entire episode where Lex is just trying to do some like development, like some fucking land deal, and
Yeah, he's
and
making a little like miniature city for like underprivileged people, and it's like free housing, free electricity. It's gonna be like this
and
wonderful thing.
Superman is just like, that's too good. Lex would never do something that
This
good for
must be a
me.
plot.
This is some evil shit going on, and he's losing it the entire episode. Like everyone, like the politicians, the community, even Captain Marvel, Shazam, is just like, bro, slow your roll.
Calm
What are you
down.
doing? And he's just like, I won't slow my roll. I'm not kill this motherfucker.
Yeah,
Superman, I think Superman was right at the end, but like, it
he's right that it's a plot, but he's wrong about what the plot is, which is brilliant because Superman thinks because he like looks and sees that there's like a dangerous looking device with a countdown, and he goes down and he's like, well, I gotta destroy that thing, that's clearly a bomb. And this causes a massive fight to break out between Superman and Shazam that basically levels most of this city that was just ready for people to move into it. And he finally like melts the thing right before the countdown runs out, and Lex is like, my guy, it was just a fusion power like device. It's just for powering this place because I didn't tell you about it. The countdown was just for when it was going to turn on. I didn't tell you about it because it runs on kryptonite. It is lead shielded, so that should protect you, but I just didn't want you to panic that I built a machine powered by kryptonite. But it's entirely harmless. And then Batman analyzes it and he's like, yeah, it's exactly what Lex said it was. And it's like, but then we get to the end where Lex is like toasting with Amanda Waller of like, I can't believe we got him to fight Shazam and destroy his reputation. Everything worked perfectly. It's like it's another one where Lex is like, he did a genuinely wonderful thing, but he did it
just to
to piss
fucking.
off Superman, and then he got what he wanted, and Superman
But
lost his shit.
but it's the fact that regardless of whether or not Lex was in fact being a super dickhead by the end, it's Superman was wrong. He was
Yeah.
he was wrong to assume the worst of someone, even if it is
Hmm.
someone as fucked up as Lex Luthor. And it was because he was so paranoid that he fell right into Lex's trap ultimately. And
Yeah.
I think that that's really interesting because um, Superman is oftentimes in many iterations such an inherent good
Yeah.
that um,
But that version, he makes some mistakes, some
that's
personal
also the fact
flaws.
that this new movie is because he not only talks about his humanity, but we see that like he's a mortal man. He'll spaz out. He was getting grilled by
Yes.
Lois, and he like lost his temper, and like
Dude, I can't wait to watch that movie again. It was so good.
and like look, I agree with him. I agree with everything he did and said, but
Hmm.
like it's clear that
It's bad luck?
he he was not used to being questioned that hard, and he was so personally invested in his own ideals and what he did that he couldn't be cool about it. He lost his temper and he got extremely upset. And it's not even like Lois was directly saying what he did was wrong. She just wanted to evaluate and question his motivations.
Yeah.
And it's like he couldn't handle that. And I want to be clear, I don't think that's bad. I think that's a character weakness, but a character weakness is, first of all, what makes him human, which is the entire theme of the movie. And second, it makes the character more interesting. Again,
Yeah.
I think Superman in the animated shows, like the Justice League show and whatnot, is boring as fuck most of the time, and it's only when he loses his mind that he becomes interesting. Either when he does the World of Cardboard speech at the end, or when he has that Clash episode with Lex. or when he's like arguing about what the right move is with other heroes. I I think I think Superman is someone who should be very grounded in his own beliefs, but as a result, sometimes be unwilling to compromise, even to his own detriment. I used to make fun of the version of him from the Dark Knight Returns,
Hmm.
but and again, that's not a Superman story. It's a Batman
Yeah.
story that features Superman. But I do appreciate more now the idea of like a Superman who is, again, like I said, so grounded in his beliefs that he starts making mistakes. Now, I do still think it's stupid that his belief in that particular iteration was I've spent all these years saying truth, justice, and the American way, so I have to serve the American government. Dumb,
Yeah.
stupid,
Yes.
foolish, even. Lex Luthor was president.
Yep.
Not in that story, but like it goes to show bad people can also be president, Superman. Maybe you shouldn't kill your oldest friend.
Yeah, that's in that episode where the Question decides he has to go kill Lex. There's a scene where Question confronts Superman. There's so much Superman talk in this, but you can't really avoid it when you're doing Lex.
That's why
But
I wanted to do a Lex episode. I wanted to talk about the movie.
but
And
there's a
we already did both Superman and Superboy on this, so I
that's
had to
true.
call something else.
But there's a scene where Question confronts Superman with what he's learned, that there's this alternate universe where where Superman goes to war with the government, and Superman goes, "That's ridiculous. We would never go against the government." And he goes, "Even if Luthor was the government?" It's like, yeah, good point.
Yeah. Also, we would never go against brother. One of your closest friends is a vigilante.
Yeah,
Technically, you're all vigilantes.
you're all doing extra legal shit all the time.
Yeah. You might not
That's
be
funny.
acting as judge, jury, and executioner, because you're not the fucking Zack Snyder version. But you are taking the law into your own hands, and uh, you're not always sanctioned by the police when you do it. So,
I've got to, just speaking of like going against the government and doing illegal shit, I have got to do a tangent with you because this is a really fun thought exercise that I thought of the other day.
uh-huh.
Regarding trigger warning, I guess, the Epstein list,
Oh boy.
and the transparent efforts to conceal it from the people. Uh, the question becomes, what would various superheroes do about this? And because I was talking about this with my dad, funny enough, we were like spitballing what would different superheroes do in this situation where they're like dismayed that justice isn't being done. And I was trying to think through. I was like, what would Superman do? Would Superman go get it? I don't think Superman would like break into a government office and get it. I think he wouldn't do that, but he wouldn't do nothing.
Here's the problem.
Mm?
Um, it's not secret. We've known for years that Trump was super friendly with Epstein and that he's a
Sure, but
rapist
like
pedophile.
there
But
are presumably people who have done horrible things whose names we could know that we don't. Um, and I'd be curious what superheroes would do with that circumstance where the government has like basically a set of names that
um,
are like super bad.
I'm fairly certain that our more lethal heroes, your Punishers, your Deadpools, they're going to go out and just murder these fuckers.
Yeah, that was my favorite one that I came up with, is that Punisher sure would want to punish the people on the list, but lacks the means or opportunity to do so. Ant-Man could get it, but isn't super invested in it because he didn't want to bring way more heat down on himself. And so my theory is Punisher hires Ant-Man to go steal it, and then
which
goes and kills everyone on the
which
list.
Ant-Man?
This would be Scott. This would have to be a Scott Lang
Okay. Well,
Ant-Man.
I feel like this might be one of the things that really riles Scott up because Scott's a father.
That's true. This could really maybe he steals it and gets the list to Punisher just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. But for Superman, I was really torn on like would he? I don't think he would do nothing, but he does like respect government authority a lot. I don't know if he would like break into a building and steal it.
Again, it's going to depend on which Superman we're talking about.
It depends on which Superman.
If we're talking about the true blue good classic Superman, the one that is represented well in like this new movie or in the like Justice League show and whatnot, then I feel like he would lean more on his journalistic side, and he would take the take the list and he would publish it to the people.
This was
Um,
exactly what Dad came up with. Was he said he wouldn't break into anything to get it, but he'd like go to a press tour as Clark Kent or something, and he's got X-ray vision and super hearing, and he'd figure everything out and get it published to the people
yeah.
without anyone ever knowing that he had acquired that he had done anything.
Uh,
Um, what
and I think if we're looking at more greedy interpretations, he might just fling these motherfuckers into space, and you
he
know what?
might.
That's fine.
My favorite few things that we came up with was that the Flash would absolutely steal and publish the list, and it would be very easy for him. It's just no brainer. It takes him 2 seconds. Um, but what was I thinking? Batman does not make the list public. He easily acquires it and just goes and strings people up and goes and does some vigilante justice in the middle of the night with like pins people upside down to the side of a building with irrefutable proof tacked to their chest for the police or something.
Yeah. I think
That's Batman's move.
I think when we're talking about like morality in a situation like this, it's an
Hmm.
extremely multi-layered issue because
Yeah.
like you might feel morally stanced in one aspect of this a certain way, but then opposingly morally stanced on another.
Hmm.
Let me sort of lay down the way I feel. First of all,
Sure.
when we're talking about okay, this is the shit that I'm sure is going to get me heat if nothing else. If we are talking about the term they like to use, minor attracted people,
Oh,
maps.
I've seen that.
Um, because I want to separate someone who finds attraction from minors versus someone who has actually gone out and committed an assault on a child, right?
Sure.
I truly am of the belief that nobody can control what they're attracted to. You like what you like. It's the same reason why you're either gay or you're not. You're not choosing to be gay or straight. You like what you like. You like the kinds of people that you like, and unfortunately, that also extends to you like the ages of people that you like. I don't believe you can control your attraction. I believe what you can control is what you do with that attraction. And I believe there are people out there that are attracted to people that are inappropriate for them to be attracted to, in this particular case, minors, but don't exercise it in any sort of unhealthy way, right?
Interesting.
I don't blame people for that attraction. That being said, if you do go out and you start victimizing children or like you look up like porn of them or whatever, because that's also perpetuating an industry that is abusing
True.
children, even if you're not directly doing it, then that's fucked up. Now, obviously, pedophilia bad. I think that's one of the most like
That
milquetoast
is a
things.
very important disclaimer to any thought.
I feel like that's one of the most milquetoast, like lukewarm takes anybody could have ever.
Yes.
But here's the thing. Going beyond that, is someone who commits a grievous crime automatically like need to be sentenced to death? No, I don't believe that either. I believe
Depends on the crime.
I,
But
yes, but I believe that for most things, people can pay their dues to society, recognize their faults, improve themselves, and try to give back in some sort of way.
yeah,
I believe
I think the people that Chris Hansen catches, lock them up for a while, put them through some therapy,
I believe
you know.
reformation can happen, and we need to stop being so gung ho in our American justice system, especially to push for like locking someone up for life, death penalty, it, it, irrevocable kinds of punishments. We have a culture that lusts after punishment
Hmm.
more than we desire to actually protect people from crimes in the first place. And one of the best ways to protect people from crimes is to go after the underlying issues that cause crimes, not just punish the people who commit them. So even if somebody commits a crime like pedophilia, I don't think it's unheard of to have the discussion about whether or not that person can be reformed. What I think is beyond the pale is when they've they've done it multiple times, and then they try to hide the evidence that they've done it. This
Yep.
whole Epstein list shit, this is, okay, there's no
This
coming back from this.
that's true. But
So
yeah,
I
um,
wanted to make my stance on all that clear, and that's why I also feel like I don't feel like any heroes would be particularly wrong to be like, no, we can't just like kill these guys. But like,
yeah,
come
and
on,
that would fall pretty predicted because comic book characters, as deep as they can be, have gimmicks, and some of them are going to fall on very predictable lines. Batman's not going to kill any of those people. Punisher's going to kill all of them.
yes,
it's
agreed.
it's a no-brainer.
Um, but like, so that entire discussion that I pitched
Hmm.
to you, Jordan, and you,
Hmm.
listener, who hopefully doesn't hate my guts after some of the things I said. Look, here's the problem with being me is that I need to be consistent. I need to be very consistent
Sure.
with my thought processes. And if I don't believe it's right for one kind of person to get away with something, then I need to be consistent with that across the board. And it's things like if I don't believe that we can bastardize like gay people for the sexualities they feel, I feel like we need to have that sort of internal consistency because otherwise you're just lying and you're just being an emotional dickhead, much like Lex Luthor. So that again, that often lands me in certain talking points that a lot of people don't like to hear. But guess what? Just because you don't like to hear it doesn't make it less accurate. Sorry, not sorry. Um,
Those are all interesting thoughts. Um,
I can tell you don't completely agree with me on some of that, but
not completely,
it's
but
look, I get it. Trust me. I look, dude. You don't need to tell me. I understand. I know. I like. I raised my niece. She's practically my daughter. The idea of things happening to her, fucking boils my insides. And I'm
oh
sure
yeah,
if it was, I can only say these things because I'm detached from it, right?
sure.
Because it's from the outside looking in. If I was personally invested in a situation happening to someone that I know, you better
Yeah, all bets are off.
not to get too dramatic. I somebody I knew in life, I won't name names, was assaulted quite a lot as
Okay.
a kid, and I will have you know that all of my logic and moral compass for the shit that I just said does go out the window because if
Oh
I
yeah.
ever had the chance to get the people who did that to them, I would have.
Yeah,
So
that
yes,
makes a lot of sense.
it's much easier said than done. I just truly believe we need to start practicing what we preach. We truly do have a problem of being way too gung ho for corporal punishment. We do, unfortunately, in our hate of certain aspects of life, we get ourselves wrapped up into mindsets that then make it easy for us to be manipulated into being overtly hateful to people who don't deserve
Hmm.
it. Again, it's really easy to hate a pedophile, but then what if someone tells you that all trans people are pedophiles? They're not.
Yeah,
But then when you
that's
believe
that
that,
is a really important aspect of things and that goes back into Lex's uh, insane bigotry.
yeah.
But
So all that is to say, if you guys don't like some of the stuff I said, I understand, but I hope you at least appreciate what I'm trying to get at with that, which isn't that we should excuse crimes, but we need to be more inward looking about all these things. And the way I was trying to wrap this back to Lex Luthor is that he is not inward looking.
no, he does not introspect.
He is an example. Again, he's the classic villain for a reason. He's not some unknowable horror from beyond the stars. He's just a person that is too personally invested, is too wrapped up in his own personal circumstances and his ego, and he doesn't introspect. He doesn't question, am I doing the right thing or not? He has convinced himself he is by default and never has to think about it again. And that leads him to doing some horribly heinous shit. And and when we're talking about real life villains, a lot of times they're the same way. They're not questioning whether or not what you're doing is wrong. But here's the thing, if Superman did kill Luthor, there is an argument to be made that he is acting out of a personal bias and that he is now falling into the same mental traps that made Luthor a bad guy in the first place. It's hard to say you're bad just because you killed the villain. I'm not someone
Hmm.
who buys into the idea of if you kill a killer, then you're just as bad. Fuck no, it depends on what they did. Uh, but
Yeah.
but in following certain mental patterns, it can be easy to become another one of them, right?
Oh,
And so,
I forgot to finish my stupid tangent.
oh, sorry, please continue.
It was just the last two or three that we came up with were Captain America does not make it his personal mission to like punish anyone on the list. He does definitely by force break into a government building, acquire it, and like make sure that it is publicly known because he thinks the people deserve the truth and they can decide what to do with it. Um, and then my favorite was Iron Man is on the list, but not for the nefarious reasons we would think. He partied with the wrong people when he was in his full warmonger mode,
Yeah.
and he like got blackout drunk at some point and wound up on the island. And he didn't do anything, but he's on it.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite one that I came up with.
Ooh, that's rough because that's pretty accurate.
Yes, and so then he steps forward and reveals everything he knows because he did know these people and was like a kind like he was like he didn't know for sure what was going on, but he's had a feeling, and now that he knows this list is being protected, he's like, I gotta tell you guys some stuff.
Yeah. Um, but to sort of wrap up what I was saying there is this brings back the real life kind of talk we were having while also tying it into Lex. Um, I think in order to be a good person, what we as a collective humanity can judge to be a morally good person, you need to be capable of questioning yourself. Superman struggles with that in the new movie, but he still tries to do it, whereas Lex doesn't try at all. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times morality isn't clear. There's a lot of factors. Good and evil are harder to quantify than we would like. We would love it if the world was black and white, if a person who looked a certain kind of way different from you was automatically evil and you're automatically good, and that's what leads to racism and all sorts of other kinds of bigotry. Um, People like to a lot of women and hell even plenty of men out there like to assume that women are good and men are evil and that's that, and it's like no, it's not that clear cut. There's definitely statistics that lean more one way than the other, but then there's societal reasons why those statistics shake out the way they are, and that's hard. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not only hard to parse and to understand, but it's hard to solve a problem that's so deeply and complexly tied into the undercurrent of our society. And so nobody wants to hear that shit. But it's like, but it's true. And in the same way that I said a bunch of things that you didn't agree with and probably pissed off anybody listening to this. And again, I understand. I am not upset if you are mad at the things that I said. The problem is that we do get mad at things like that, but they're still right. You you need to be able to interrogate parts of yourself that have made life overly simplistic. And when you do that, you're usually going to get upset. Trust me, I was upset when I came to that conclusion. But it's like if I truly believe that our justice system is fucked up and that the way we completely bastardize people who have committed crimes and we don't give them a chance to reform and that we should change that and that we need to believe in reform, then that means even for crimes that we absolutely hate in the deepest pit of our stomach, sometimes we need to push harder to gives someone a chance to reform. Like you said, therapy and doing a certain amount of time and stuff like that is going to go a lot farther to bettering our society than just murdering someone and giving them the electric chair
Yeah, I
and
think an
making them
awful lot
quiet.
of crimes can be. I think not crimes. I think an awful lot of criminals can be reformed.
Especially because once someone has been a criminal and then they are reformed, you know what they do? They help you lessen the amount of other criminals out there. You can get not only like
Yeah,
insider
there's lots of
info.
programs out there of like people who were in gangs and people who've done all sorts of terrible things going around the country
Yeah,
telling people about, hey, it's not worth it.
you not
It's not
only
worth it to do those things and think those things and be that person.
yes, you not only get the educational side of it where they're teaching young people to not follow in their footsteps, and you not only get insider info about like where these people meet up and what they do, but you also get a look into their psyche. You
Yeah,
get to understand the circumstances that made them become that way, and then once we have that knowledge, we can alter our society in a way that makes it less likely for them to for there to be more of those kinds of criminals created. Um, if we just kill someone who's got fucked up manslaughter brain disease, then it's like, okay, well, we took him out, but then somebody else is going to have that fucked up manslaughter brain disease. And it's like,
yep.
you're not solving the problem. We're not making a cure for the disease. You're just getting rid of the people who have it. And, and in that same way, like, again, trust me, I understand it's really easy to be like, we should just kill all pedophiles. Trust me, I've been there. I've been on that boat. But I eventually had to go, no, but that's not really going to solve the problem, is it? It's just going to make us feel better. And I don't want us to feel better. I want us to be better. I want us to be a better society. I want us to be a better group of people. And sometimes that means we need to focus in more on the most disenfranchised parts of our society. And that includes criminals. And if we if we make life good enough for everybody that they don't even want to be criminals in the first place, that's going to solve a lot of our problems.
That's true.
Yes, there is at some point going to be people that are just assholes and just want to make life bad for other
Yeah,
people.
in general, pedophiles and mass murderers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, Typically, it's not quality of life that's that's getting them down. But you can fix a lot of crime by just making people's lives better.
yeah.
Not all. You can fix a lot.
So all that is to say, I truly hope I didn't really upset anybody with what I was saying, but I want you to understand why I'm saying it. I think that these are things that are important for us to interrogate in ourselves, both on a personal level and a global level, right? Like our society, like we really do have a scary mob mentality. When we've decided that someone's a bad person, we round on them so fucking
That's
fast. A lot of times,
that's in this movie when everyone decides Superman's here to take over the world.
exactly. Like
Everyone just switches on a dime.
we kind of just operate under the assumption when we gain information that we now have the final piece of the puzzle. And
Yeah,
a lot of times it's like you have like the second piece of the
yeah.
puzzle.
You might get
There's
more
a
info later.
lot more going on that we don't know about. So in our internet age, we all feel a lot more personally invested because we have access to information that would have been hard for some governments to get like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So we want to be more active. Sometimes we need to slow the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Sometimes we need to let more of the story unravel. Sometimes we need to let ourselves get into a position where we can better understand a person and their motivations before just immediately hounding them. And
Oh, I just thought of a new part of this tangent. Uh, Lex would assume that Superman's on the list and would hack it and publish it because he thought he was going to get
yes,
Superman, but he doesn't. He just gets all the bad people, which also means Lex wasn't on the list. So, and I believe that. I
yeah,
believe he wouldn't be.
we only saw
He's not
him.
about that. He just hates Superman.
We only saw him with adult girlfriends in this movie, so that's fine.
That's true. But springboard off all this stuff you're saying about reform versus bloodlust and stuff. It's and going back to what I said about therapy, that it's like, yeah, you can fix a lot of criminals with fix. It's a weird word, but you can reform a lot of criminals with stuff like therapy, where you can get people to see things from a different perspective. You can't do it to Lex. Only Lex can do it to himself because he's so fucking arrogant
But
that
here's the thing.
he'll never accept a therapist telling him that his thoughts are unhealthy. But during the one time that he gives himself Superman's powers and sees things from a different perspective of his own volition, he reforms.
Exactly. And to build off what you were saying, it's not just Lex either. Because again, it's really easy for us all to go, well, I'm different from the bad guy. I'm
Yeah.
not Trump, so I'm not the worst guy in the world. Democrats, you really need to learn this lesson. Just not being Trump doesn't make you good. And similarly to the listener, just because you are not literally Lex Luthor himself doesn't mean you can't be doing a lot of the same shit. So
Always got to
when it,
introspect into those biases and
when it,
hatreds and everything.
yes, when it comes to therapy, nobody will accept therapy until they do. Like it doesn't work on anybody. The first step is always recognize there's a problem. You can't solve the problem if you refuse to acknowledge that it exists. If I say, "Hey, what's 2 plus 2?" and you go, "That's bullshit. That's not math. Fuck you." Then, well, then you're not going to get to 4, are you? If you have a problem with your personality or your morality or whatever, you can't solve the problem until you acknowledge that there is one. So Lex, in that way, represents a darker side of all of humanity because, again, that's hard. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to say, "Hey, I'm actually fucked up and I need to
Yeah.
work on myself,"
Least of
especially
all X.
especially when the work that's necessary isn't something you can solve overnight. It's going to take years of unraveling your psyche and your history and who you are as an individual and nailing down the specific parts that make you a worse person and working to fix those. That shit's difficult and nobody wants to hear that that's the answer,
Mm-hmm.
but it is. And if you refuse, you're just going to be Lex. You're going to be the arrogant guy who will not accept that he's got a problem, and you then make your problem everyone else's problem. So here's my mandate to all of you, especially any of you who might have gotten a knee-jerk reaction of getting really angry at me earlier. And that's my mandate to you is slow down, really think about what I said, truly interrogate it. Maybe I was wrong. Again, I'm not a perfect person. I don't know everything. But you need to take the time to question, was I wrong because there was a logical inconsistency to something that I said that I missed? Or was I wrong because I made you mad? Because those are two very different things. And I think the more of us that imply that thought process into our day-to-day life, the better world we can live in. Okay, I think I saved it. So, uh, now you can all stop screaming at me. Do you have any final thoughts about Lex before we wrap up?
Man, Lex, and I mean, just to go back to what we were just saying, Lex is never going to introspect unless he accidentally forces himself to, and I think that that is probably the most potent, like, summation of everything we've been talking about, is that it's like, if he could just see things from a different perspective and understand that we're all in this together, and everything alive is alive and beautiful, and it's all connected and it's all atoms like he sees in All-Star Superman. If he could just understand that, he could make himself just stop fixating on hating Superman, but he'll never do it on
I
his own.
I
he
I agree, and
had to accidentally do it to himself to reform, so no amount of therapy is helping that guy.
again, one of my favorite quotes from Avatar: The Last Airbender. One of the
Ah,
greatest
yeah.
illusions is the illusion of separation.
Hmm.
He, if he could take the time to realize him and Superman are not diametrically opposed opposites, but they're just two guys living in this world, then it'd be a lot better.
Yeah, and that fits in with what Superman says in this movie, where he says, "I'm human. I make mistakes. I love. I weep. I get tired." And he says, I don't remember exactly how he gets to this point in the sentence, but he says, but my humanity is my greatest strength. And one day, Lex, I hope you wake up and realize that it's your greatest strength too.
Yeah.
Great
Also,
line.
not to step on that really beautiful, touching potential ending, but I just remembered. I really like my hair, and I will never go bald. But I've always said if there was one thing I would ever go bald for, it would be to play Lex Luthor in the movie. So, WB, now that I defended Maps, reach out to me so that I can be the evil
Jesus Christ.
villain. Okay. Uh, Well, if you're not completely disgusted with me and you want to listen to more, Cape Corn's a whole podcast, and we have a Discord that you can join where you can see the entire archive of all of our episodes. You can suggest things to me, or you can just call me an asshole who doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'll accept that. Um, and we're also part of the Hall Pod Podcast Network, which they definitely want to be associated with me now. And and it's the Fandom Optimists with Jordan over on his podcast.
Look
It's
out
the
for an
SJW,
upcoming Fantastic Four review.
yeah. It's the SJW Comic Book Club, and it's True Believers, a comic book podcast, and it's Movies to Watch Before You Die with Dylan Pollock, whose name I've definitely never forgotten.
Yeah, you knew it
Um,
the whole time.
yeah, don't listen to the start of this episode. And I believe that's about it. So, everybody stay strong, stay true to yourselves, and remember, kindness is punk rock.